Did you get a bulletin?
She did a bulletin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the thought. Really glad to start. Check it.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Richmond East Bay on this fine day, March 1st. And
I pray in.
oh, okay.
As we come together today in the name of God, that divine spirit which exists within each of us, we remember that we are made in the image of the divine creator. So we are here to moment by moment create that loving, peaceful, compassionate connection with this life that we have been given. And we come here on Sunday so we can explore what that might look like. So, welcome. Open your mind, your heart, and recognize that something special is happening today, and you are a part of it. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
The Lord, the Lord, I shall rejoice. I shall rejoice and be glad. And be glad. This is the day of the Lord. I shall rejoice and be glad. This is the day. This is the day of the Lord. This is the day. This is the Lord has made. The Lord has made. I shall rejoice. I shall rejoice. Be glad. And be glad. This is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad. This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has
Hey, Barbara. So, today's affirmation is the peace I seek is within me. And we'll say it 3 times together. The peace I seek is within me. The peace I seek is within me. The peace I seek is within me. And now we will do the say the mission statement on the right hand side. And the mission statement is to love, to serve, to awaken. Love, love spirit, ourselves, and the world. Serve. The beauty of the Christ is expressed through service to one another. Awaken. We are one as God. Each of us is here to awaken to our divine potential. We seek to transform our hearts by renewing of our minds. Knowing with God, all things are possible. And the vision statement we'll say together. Unity of Richmond East Bay is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Following the path of Jesus and other spiritual teachers, we use emerging wisdom to cultivate a closer walk with spirit, humankind, and ourselves. And today's daily word, God is here. I am safe. Once in a while, I enjoy doing things that frighten me. Sharing ghost stories around a campfire, watching a spooky movie, even savoring the uneasy feeling just before thundering down the first hill of a roller coaster. All of these things can feel scary, even though I know I'm in no real danger. If I begin to feel unsafe in any situation, I remember that right where I am, God is. Breathing in, breathing out, I release tension. My body relaxes. Fearful thoughts begin to dissolve. Breathing in, I think more clearly. Slowly, I renew strength and peace of mind. My confidence returns as I remember that nothing in the world can prevail against the strength, the wisdom, and the love of God. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod, your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23:4.
Today we're going to sing number 221 in Wings of Song. It's a special day. And I just wanted to mention that this was written, the words were written by Warren Meyer, And I believe he was a pastor at this church at that time. Is that correct, Robert?
Yes, yes, Marguerite. You remember Warren Meyer?
Yes.
Warren Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Also, the actual tune you will recognize as being Bringing in the Sheaves.
I have perfect It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it. Special way. I accept my blessing. When I'm expressing something of this beautiful. And it's all my joy. Blesses you. It's a special day. It's a special day. It's a special day. It's a special
Time to meet your neighbors.
This chat is classic. Baby, all the beautiful things I'm learning about you day by day.
Now it's time for our prayer and meditation statement, which is on the right-hand side, and we'll say it together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence and one power active in your life. God the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence and one power, active in unity of Richmond East Bay. God the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence and one power active in the world today. God the good, omnipotent. Thank you, God. And now we have our spiritual message with Pastor Carsten. March Madness, channel your energy into creativity.
Well, thank you, Lenora. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, each of you, for being here. Thank you for joining us via YouTube. We are made in the image of God, isn't that what we're told? And what is the core aspect of God, the creator? I just gave you the answer. Creativity. So we are not here just to navigate what's coming at us. We're here to remember that we create breath by breath, moment by moment, thought by thought, action by action, and our energy goes into the field and creates what's out there. And what's out there bounces back. That's what we call karma. And so it's being aware that when the outside world triggers you and makes you mad, March Madness, what do we do with that anger? What do we do with that increased life energy? Do we say, yes, something out there is triggering something in me? And do we focus it on an old story that says it's me against the world and why is this happening to me? And go into the old disconnection from what we know and what we talk about each Sunday here. One presence, one power active in the world today, God, the good, omnipotent. And you can throw out the word God if it doesn't work for you, because it doesn't work for a lot of people, correct? I know for me, a long time after I got through my first couple of years of Catholic school and that early wounding about how I am sin and I am, the dust of the earth. As a child, I knew that was not true. I knew there was something different. And it took me a while after being an atheist for many years to get back to the recognition that, oh, yes, I do believe in a higher power, in something that is beyond this body and this sense of self that I've come up with. And what told me that was yoga. Recognize they talked about the energy that flows through the body. And then when I looked at the spiritual beliefs of the yoga people I was working with, they talked about God being present everywhere in everything. And then I found unity, and it spoke to the calling in of Christ's teachings rather than how religion has hijacked it, and talked about that creative power. What does that mean, being made in the image of God? I watched a program last night that's Nova, which is always talking about the universe and all these big new discoveries they're making about the universe. And they're talking now about dark matter and dark energy. And isn't it interesting that what we're seeing in the world today has to do with color on one level? Who's whiter than everyone else? And if you're darker, and we've seen that through our history, right? And trying to level out who's worthy and who's not based on color of our skin, based on how much money we had, based on where we were born, based on our sex, based on so many different things. But the deep truth that we know here at Unity, and that most of the religions have at their core, is that we're all connected. There is an equality here. And here we are in this time and space playground. And what we know here, that one power, that one presence is within us, and we are divine aspects, each of us an individual, unique aspect of that divine energy. So what's happening is that energy that has created the entire universe. And what we're learning now from science is there's many universes out there. It's endless, endless, endless. That energy has been downloaded into each of us to specifically allow us the power to help create this time and space playground that we're in. So we're playing a game where we are participating and we're making up the rules. That's why we talk about beliefs a lot at Unity. Do you believe that it's you against the world? Or do you know that there is one presence, one power active in the universe, and it's flowing through me moment by moment? And it's my opportunity to awaken. It's interesting how in the world the woke idea has gotten such a negative thing. And that's because people want to stay with their heads stuck in the ground. They don't want to acknowledge that one of the main truths of our time space experience here is it's always changing, it's always moving, it's always growing forward, it's always in a process of becoming. And so, what do we do with the craziness? Because we know with our technology now, we know what's happening on the entire world. So, the first thing I do is remember I chose to come here at this time. And if you don't really believe that, fine. But what I'm asking you to do today is act as if. Allow it to be a working premise. That's one of the gifts of my acting training. I can make believe. And what my acting training, when it really began to activate and move forward, when I started studying acting, it's when I remembered, and it was a wonderful teacher who said, I said, well, I can't really put myself in that position. He said, well, how about when you were a kid? Did you make things up? Did you? Oh, yeah. Well, bring that kid in. Bring that kid that knows it can make it up in the moment. And so that's our adult option, to recognize that as kids, we made it up and we just pretended it was happening. As as adults, we can recognize that we can choose our focus and choose what we're wanting to do and choose what we're deciding to believe, and the world will suddenly begin to look different. When I lived in New York, I learned what instant karma meant. If I forgot to do my meditation and my grounding in the morning, do my prayer time, do any, it was just 10, 15 minutes. I needed that time to get centered, because if I didn't, and I went in that sort of rush energy, everything would come at me. The doors of the subway would close. Someone would be screaming at me on the street. It makes a difference when you recognize, what if the outside world is mirroring or responding to what I'm putting out? And the opportunity that's happening now on our planet, as we look and see all the crazy shifts that are happening. And when we found out yesterday that we're back in war, certain people who claim they're part of our country. That's the other thing. We have a country, so we feel connected. I do. I feel connected to what's happening because I live in this country and it's not consistent with what I believe. So my first choice is to say, well, God the good omnipotent, I'm not always meant to understand how and why things are happening, but this is triggering an energy in me, a resistance. How do I take that and put it into my own space? Creativity. That's what continues to come up for me. Creativity. How do I creatively move forward? And how do you creatively move forward? Think about it. What do you do when you see a lot of things in the world that aren't consistent with who you are or what you want to experience? And on one level, maybe you feel there's nothing immediately that I feel I can do about that. Bring it back to the heart, bring it back to your personal world. Remember that on one level, everything we get through these devices is not real, or not as real as what's happening right here, right now in this vibrational space. We do our YouTube thing every week because we want to take advantage of this expanded technology that we have, because it's part of the world that's here today. But don't let it devalue right here, right now, what's happening in your immediate space, and sometimes even more potently, what's happening in here right now, because that spirit speaking to you, that divine energy of God the good, omnipotent, does not always speak to us intellectually. I know for years I expected God to come in and tell me exactly what I needed to do and who I was and speak to me in words. He speaks through the heart. That, and I don't call him he, that energy speaks through our heart, through our emotions. And it is constantly for me, and this is part of the wokeness, it constantly for me is asking me to reevaluate what these powerful energies are telling me in my intellect. What do I decide is happening? And so when I can turn what I don't understand or what I don't have control over to spirit and bring it down into the moment, that's when I start to feel in the flow. And it's not that we want to deny anger or the heaviness, the depression that can come up sometimes, but we want to recognize that it's not working against us. It's inviting us to feel it and then ask spirit, what is ours to do? What is mine to do in this situation? Yesterday, it was work on your unity, talk for tomorrow, and take a bath. Get in that tub. And that's where most of the stuff often comes up, in the bathtub. The recognition that we are creators, so we can take the anger that comes up when we see a lot of the destruction and violence that's going on out in the world and say, how do I deal with that? I turn to something else and become creative. I decide, look at my kitchen. I'm going to clean this kitchen and make it beautiful and make something good to eat that I can bring to unity tomorrow. I'm feeling better. And it's to remember that the feelings that we have that move through us, they're moving immediately into the quantum field, this energy that we live through, and it's making a difference. If we look at the violence and the craziness and some of the things that are so about we're more powerful and you're bad and need to go away, when we look at that energy, step back and look at the big picture. Important to look at the big picture, because when we get stuck in the little minutia, we can see there's horrible things that maybe we can't do anything about. But when we can step back and look at the big picture, we see that the what I will call the negativity we're seeing out there is activating a powerful no. I'm seeing a lot of these younger politicians who are coming up and they're speaking Christ's words and letting go of the dogma that's connected with religion. Because, of course, that other side, the negativity, has claimed Christianity for themselves. But the people that are coming up that are bringing Christ and Jesus into the conversation are saying, no, you don't speak for Christ, what Jesus said, because you are not following his teachings, which is love your neighbor first, love all among you. And so what's happening is it's a reckoning that's been going on for a long time. This country has a lot of karma to work through. Everyone thought, oh, we figured it out in the 60s because there was, we passed laws and everything. But there was an underground that still cannot come to the terms that one race or group of people is not superior to another. They still want to hold on to that. It's all based in fear. And when you can step back and see the big picture, it actually allows me to have some compassion for those people that are causing a lot of the craziness and the pain out there. Because you realize they're coming from a place of fear, and that in the big picture, that long arc of justice, as Dr. Martin Luther King talked about, that that's not sustainable. Structures are falling apart and they are going to continue to fall apart. Lots of things that we don't have control over, but what I invite everyone to do is trust in the big picture. God is present, that divine energy is present, and we're here to have an experience and to grow and to evolve. And so that's what's happening. So remember not to get lost in those old stories. Remember, your most intimate and powerful connection or relationship is to your inner guidance. And if you're sitting here or listening to this, you are open to a powerful, truthful way of looking at life, who you are and what's happening out there. And so when I catch myself wanting to respond to the negativity and the violence out there with negativity or violence, not that I do anything physically, but we all can go up into our head and go, oh, I wish someone would come in and get rid of that person, right? That's the time to recognize, where do I put this energy that's more positive, that's not going to add to more of the violence and the angst that's going on out there. So it starts with the self first, and then you move to your immediate community. Where am I still holding resentment against someone? Where have I made a judgment of someone because something happened in the past and I'm not allowing change, growth, or a new way for me to look, or a new way for them to be? Because when we hold someone in that negative angst, you did me wrong stuff, and that's the energy we're putting around them, they'll continue to show up and send us that energy. Even if they're not really doing that, that's how we see it. Do we get that? We call it projection in psychology. Start with the self, be present with what's going on with you and in your immediate experience. And remember that creativity is not just painting a painting or writing an opera or or a sculpture. Creativity is how you decide to move through your life, what you decide to think about someone else, what you decide to think about the life, what you decide to think about what just happened. Creativity starts primarily with our beliefs. When I first heard that, I thought, well, no, beliefs are just the truth. That's something that's already set. It's not, liquid. It's not movable. Unity was the one that taught me, oh yes, your beliefs is how you create your life. It's how you open the path forward. So when we remember that we are creative beings, that whenever something activates our emotional center, that's an activation of life force, and you can choose how to focus that energy. I believe depression is that energy coming up, very often starting as anger or fear, but then a belief that there's nothing I can do about it and the world's working against me, so we just kind of shut down. And I don't think it's bad. I've begun to call depression compression, because it's spirit coming in and saying, you don't know what to do in this situation. I don't want you to have the anger create more karma and throw it back. That's why a lot of them in the past, when someone would really trigger me, what they would say, you're giving me the silent treatment. If you're not saying anything, and part of that is because you want that person to know that you're mad and you want them to be upset that you're not saying anything, that's karmic. That's going to come back to you. But if you're not jumping in, if that silent treatment is you saying, I don't want to create any more karma, I don't know what to do in this situation, but I can't just show up and act normal and act like it didn't bother me, right? We have to honor ourselves. So it means taking yourself out of that situation or not responding the way the other person is expecting you to, because the other person can always tell if you're upset. But honoring your own feelings enough and allowing the other person to deal with what's going on there. That allows karma to clear. I'm letting that sink in. Any questions about anything come up about that? It's not what the ego wants. The ego wants to push back or still have the silent treatment, give the person the dirty look and send them those daggers with the eyes, right? When we don't do that, when we sit with that discomfort on ourselves and say, I can't blame the other person, it means we're reclaiming our energy to focus it in more positive ways. And we don't have to figure out how to do that. By being in the moment, honoring the feelings, choosing not to send it in negative ways, and being gentle with ourselves. Very often, that first trigger for me Sometimes it will move to tears, and with the tears will come an understanding about, oh, what's coming up is really not about this situation. It's an old sense of not feeling safe, and that old story that, oh, I don't belong here and the world works against me. And that can come up from just a little situation where in the past you would have gone into this whole thing. Stopping, giving yourself the space to have that catharsis come up, to put the focus on yourself when by choosing not to send out that negative energy. Other thing that can be really helpful is to recognize if you have jumped in and said something that you really didn't believe, but you knew would get the other person, forgive yourself. Go, oh, wow, that felt good to the ego, but now that the ego is back and it's done, I feel bad because I didn't really feel that about that person. So then it's being gentle and saying, oh, thank you, spirit. Thank you, self. I'm learning and I'm growing. And if you need to make amends to the other person, absolutely do it. But also recognize that this is I've done this to others and I've had others do this to me. In the guise of making amends, I'm really pushing my agenda again and making that person know that they did it wrong. So be aware that sometimes the best thing to do is deal with your stuff and turn the other person over to spirit and apologize to them in your heart. Apologize to their higher power because that ego is very sly and you can come to apologize with the highest expectations, but suddenly those words are coming out of your mouth. And I apologize, but you know what you did really wasn't very nice. And I mean, all that stuff. So stop, be willing to do something different, and notice what's happening. That's creativity. We are made in the image of God. And our option is always to bring our creativity, our imagination into an experience and spin it in a unity way. Spin it in a way that allows you to expand what's happening. Blame, shame, guilt, they're all distorted feelings, distorted life force that's connected with some story that something went wrong and it shouldn't have happened, right? That's where our unity thing that we say each week comes into play because boy, it's hard to buy into that when you've really been triggered and you're going into the blame game, right? And so it's a practice. It's a practice. And we may not get it right. And we may get it right very well. And then something happens and we go right back into the old place. Remember, you're never going back into the old place. You're always moving forward on a different level. And a lot of these old program patterns may come up again and again. And when we do put the focus on ourselves and notice how we grow and learn, and we have high times, we have times down in the valley, it's the same thing with our expanded humanity. And we're going through a huge time of change and evolution. So we can all be happy and glad and excited about that because we have a connection, an openness, a wokeness to a deeper understanding of what's happening. So let's take a moment to recognize what's going on in the world. A lot of changes, a lot of shifts, a lot of certain people that put a certain person in power who thinks they're really powerful, but recognizing that what's out there, in one sense, is the past. And we are here to begin to visualize the future by experiencing it moment by moment in our lives by how we choose to come up. And it may mean you turn off the news. I need to do that because that was part of my depression this past week. Why should I do anything when this is happening out there? No, turn it off. Pet the cat. Think about your unity community. Make something wonderful for yourself to eat. Help your neighbor, which the one, I'm not going to say it's wonderful that he fell and broke his kneecap, but it's wonderful that he feels comfortable coming over and asking me to help, and that I feel happy and grateful that I'm able to help him. And it's also remembering to acknowledge those things. How often do we pat ourselves on the back? No, we much more have a tendency to say everything that's wrong. I call my good friend who's really struggled all his life with a lot of mental challenges. And it was his birthday yesterday. So I made a point to call him. And I found on the phone that I was mostly talking about myself, talking about the good stuff that's happening. So we hadn't talked for a while. And then I thought, well, I really got to ask him about himself. Oops. Because when the focus turned to him, it was all the things that are wrong, all the things that still need to be fixed, all the things. So I kind of, as best I could, turned him towards all the good stuff that I could see in him. And then when he started going back to those other things, I went, great to talk to you. Let go. Because I know for myself that very often it's not helpful for me to go over all the things that I know are still wrong and still need to be fixed. We've been taught that that's what we need to do to help ourselves grow forward, but most of us know those things. We've been through them so many times. Let it go. Start turning the focus on what you can pat yourself on the back for. And when you start looking at what you're grateful for in yourself, guess what happens? You're putting on a new lens, and suddenly those things you've judged yourself for, you can see them in a new light. You can start to understand why they're there, and they do begin to melt away. The other thing that's really helpful, and this came up for me today, is to recognize that the fixing the ego thinks it needs to do with ourself or the world is not our business, because that's in the hands of Spirit of God and it's already being taken care of. So if it's still here, then it's required. And for me, probably the thing that it's offering me is the ability of to be in acceptance, to recognize that I am human, which means I'm not perfect. I have stuff. And when I can recognize that for myself, my desire to fix others begins to melt away. And when my desire to fix others begins to melt away, I can begin to see them in new light and I can begin to learn, because everyone has a gift to share with you. If they're in your experience, there's something there for you. So step back and look at it. One of the things that you can see about what's happening in the political situation is the ability to manifest. A lot of them are manifesting from fear, not enough, and I've got to get more, but they're doing some pretty powerful manifesting out there. So, how do we take or learn the positive stuff from them, but then put it into our agenda for what we want for ourselves and the world at large? So as we sit here today or sit there at home, what do you see for yourself moving forward? Just keep it simple. What's one thing that might clear the past, might relieve a little bit of anxiety, might open up? And when I ask myself this question, it's helpful to remember I'm not asking myself because I have to come up with a plan. That's God's business. But asking myself, what would feel better? What would feel more balanced? What would give me a sigh of relief? Money, career, relationships, health, living situation. It's almost one of those Saturn five. And then ask, is there an action that I can take around that situation that is simple and I can do it and might make me feel better? And then if there is, take that action. If you're not sure about, oh, that action feels scary, sit with it for a minute. Because very often the scary actions, we talked about fear earlier during the daily word, that fear, like all emotions, at its core is love, and it's there to help guide you and help awaken you to something, usually your creative powers. And so by listening within, asking yourself, what about that step? And then remembering that on one level, you can't make a wrong step, because a step out of what's become habitual, which is karmic, we did it yesterday, so we do the same thing today. Stepping outside of that, outside of your comfort zone, is going to give you more options, more opportunities. You can always say, oh, that didn't work. Let me try something else. But the thing that didn't work always moves you in another direction. So we're always moving forward. Spirit is always with us. And more is coming. So when I can embrace the not knowing, but still take an action, say, I wonder how this is going to come out, how this is going to evolve, we're much less apt to beat ourselves up if it doesn't go the way we thought it should. Because spirit very often has a different idea of what the plan is than we do. So it really is about staying open moment to moment. Same thing we can do when we look at the big picture, stay open moment to moment, go, oh, that just happened. I wonder how this is going to evolve. I wonder how spirit is going to make itself felt in this situation. And the other thing that I continue to remind myself is this is my belief, and not everyone has to believe this, but to remind myself that I chose to be here at this time with these people, experiencing what's happening on the big level and also what we are creating on the individual personal levels. When I remind myself that I chose this, something shifts. Something shifts inside. And so the other thing that comes up with my spirituality is recognizing that maybe on one level, we're just all making this stuff up. And if that's true, then let's make up the stuff that makes us feel good. Let's follow the inner guidance that says this feels good, this is right, this feels connected with others. Do the things that work for you. So, what is that in your life that brings you joy, that activates your life force? Those are the things to put your focus on, to put your practice on. Find those things you enjoy and help others to do the same, but not by putting yourself in the background. There's a lot of, we shared it this morning, there's a lot of us codependents out there, more sense of self is really about always helping everybody else. There comes a time when you need to put yourself first and recognize a lot of the help you do for other people is going to attract users who aren't willing to do it for themselves or have told themselves they can't do it for themselves. So they're coming to you. And by helping them, you're actually adding to their sense of disempowerment. This is what we call being spiritually selfish. So I choose, as you move forward, choose to do that because we all have powerful gifts to share with the world. But if we're always putting everyone else first, we may not ever be able to really send those vibrations out. So let's go within, closing our eyes. And it's interesting what I watched on dark matter last night and then went into my meditation. I realized, oh, I'm just surrendering to the dark matter. As they said, that's the most present thing in the universe. And that's really what's going within is all about. So recognize as you go within and feel gravity and the breath affirming your here and now presence. Recognize that we don't need to understand all the scientific stuff that talks about the dark matter and the dark energy and the quantum field. We can go within and recognize that I am experiencing the presence of that knowing, that dark matter, that dark energy, because it is that still, silent space within. So notice as you feel the breath flowing in, that the breath is literally breathing you. It is God. It is that one presence, that one power saying, yes, yes. It is Mother Earth calling in that divine wokeness, saying, yes, you're here now in this, alive, awake, aware of a grand presence that's moving through you. And all of the beings on the planet are participating in this evolving creative experiment. So as we breathe in, we honor our organic connection with our brothers and sisters, the trees and the plants and the birds and the oceans and the clouds and the winds and the seasons. That's all a part of us and we're all a part of it. And we can choose moment by moment to claim the peace that is always present. It's what creates this space where we can have all this trauma experience, but beyond all the trauma experience in life is that place of stillness, that place of silence, that place of inner knowing that allows us to embrace the outer not knowing. Because, like children, we are the divine offspring of that one source, sharing and spreading that energy as we choose, moment by moment. And right here, right now, we are grateful for this moment, for these bodies, for these minds, these hearts, these emotions, these energies, these connections, these relationships, this life. We breathe it in and we flow it back out. And we trust that all is well and more is coming. And we open, we ask, what is ours to do? We are here for you. We are here for life. We are here for ourselves. We are here for our loved ones. We are here for humanity. We are here for Mother Earth. And it is good. And so together we sing the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
A few, well, it must have been about 3 months ago, I sang this song to you that's in your bulletin. If you don't have one, just mention it. I have some right here.
Here, Barely, I can.
Don't worry. I'm government. Oh, no. So, I think that's all. As long as you don't forget, I get my
As Carsten was saying in the sermon, one of the ways we can get away from the stress of what's going on is to turn to some creative way, something that we do well or enjoy doing. And for me, I guess a lot of times it's been writing music and making up words and poetry and so forth. And this is a song that and so I thought maybe we could all, I'd like to sing it for you first and then have everybody sing it together. It's a song I wrote on my 60th birthday.
Congratulations.
When I felt that I needed to change my outlook and try to read them a little bit. Stepping up and stepping out. This is all I do. Why? Stepping out and really I'm sorry, I don't sit on it. I don't No, and it felt to share.
Woo! Bravo. It's a hit.
So it said, trying to this guy.
Yes.
Stepping up and said, hey, now I know what I know. And to finish my heart. This is my time. I have dreams, I have plans, and they're not really almost there. Just a step away. Stepping out and feeling free. Cause I'm satisfied to be. I and with friends to cheer on. I stay at the little I saw going stepping out and feeling free. Cause I'm satisfied with me. Friends to cheer me on.
Thank you, Marilyn. That was fabulous.
Can we add that to our Easter concert?
Yes. We've all heard that.
That was in one of the congregation, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's time for the blessings of our tithes and offerings. So your offering in your left hand and cover it with your right, and recite the message on the right hand side. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. By the Lord of love, I prosper. Now, right now.
The glory gets to be We take in these blessings with gratitude and appreciation for each of you that gave them, and in the knowing that they are seeds that are blossoming for the givers, for the receivers, and for our world at large. And let's activate them now as the fertilizer of compassion, of love, of brother sisterhood, and of an open, evolving heart and mind for each of us and for all of us. Amen.
Amen. I just want to say what a beautiful surprise to turn around and see all our new friends here. Glad you came. And it's time for announcements. Do you have any announcements?
All right, number one, we have a rehearsal after service. I didn't set this up right. There we go. We have a rehearsal after service for our concert, which is happening on the first Sunday, well, Easter Sunday. I think it's the 2nd of April. So please join us for that. We will also have a potluck and wonderful connection for fellowship. We also have added a new event monthly. We will have our friendship luncheon on the first Friday of each month. So that means this coming Friday, we will be having luncheon here. The time frame that we've set out is 11:30 to 1:30. You don't have to come for the whole time. You don't have to bring anything, but if you're inspired to bring something to eat, feel free. But we'll always have something yummy to eat, and it's really just a time for fellowship, to make connections. I'm planning to be here on Friday, and I can also do prayer time with people or whatever is up. So that's happening. Anything else that I'm forgetting? We did have a board meeting today. I think that's it. All right, so yes.
Today at 2 o'clock at the old Oakland Auditorium, the Henry J. Kaiser Center, or whatever they call it now. They're having a service for Betty Reed Soskin, the 104-year-old woman with the black woman, the Rosie the River, the park ranger right here in Richmond.
Okay. So a free event, and what's the address again?
The Henry J. Kaiser Center.
Henry J. Kaiser Center at 2 p.m. And the person's name we're celebrating?
Betty Reed Soskins.
Betty Reed Soskins. All right. Very good. She was a park ranger. Shared herself for 104 years, so that's something to celebrate.
Yes.
And we'll come together and sing our peace song. As we go into the world today, we know the light God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The love of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Praise God.
One got soda, but here they are.
Oh,
I don't know where they came from.
oh, thank
You got
you. How are you doing?
I'm one.
And so your jumbo. Jumbo.
Oh, you like to?
Yeah, yeah. I wish I could have stayed up there. But, yeah. Yeah. always. Yes, for a job. Well, that's so, what new?
I know, but you don't say that usually to the Americans. I think it's a horrible job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of rubbish. The whole dark rum like mine. Does it work?
Oh, yeah, are you gonna do it again?
I'm never gonna get a chance.
Yeah, you have the footage from that day?
I didn't do it, but it's there somewhere. Why? You got somebody who can transpose it?
Well, because I could air it on,
I can. Okay, well you got to.
yeah, you have a hard drive,
It's on the iPad.
so you gotta transfer it. If you
Yeah.
transfer it, if you have a computer,
No, you just fix it. They know what to do. I used to work for GCM years ago, but I never.
yeah, I will, I'm not authorized to use their editing software, so I,
can't.
no, I
See,
can,
that's what it used to be. They taught you how to do
yeah, they do, but I don't have that training. I have,
pro tier or whatever we call it for the Apple product.
oh, you mean class?
I do that, but it was pro tier.
Well, then you can go there and do, cause if you already been there before.
Nah, that's years ago, man.
No,
I
no,
don't remember
once,
anything.
no, once you get a,
Certification.
yeah,
I got a friend who got certification. He did it with them for years. I can get Raymond. Raymond say I can remember. And Raymond don't remember nobody.
and so, do you have a hard drive though?
What do you mean a hard drive? An external hard drive?
Yeah.
I don't know how to transfer it to the
Okay,
office.
so if you.
But I can go to, you tell me what day you going to Berkeley, be still, and I'll bring you the iPad and show them where it is, and then you all just get it back to me.
Okay.
Good seeing you, Lamar. I hope you weren't feeling funny.
Thank you.